Derek, the outlook looks pretty solid right now. You obviously are, like the rest of the industry, facing a cost issue. How much longer can higher fares compensate for higher costs?
Well, Guy, first of all, I just want to thank the American Airlines employees for everything they did. We went into this year to get sustained profitability. We talked on the second quarter. We were profitable on the second quarter. And once again, we're profitable in the third, and we're projecting a fourth quarter profit. So, and yes, you know, from a cost perspective, the CASM is high. We call it cost per ASM. It's high really due to the fact that we haven't flown as much as we want to from an ASM perspective due to the constraints that are in this industry, from pilots to aircraft deliveries. You know, that's going to be here for a little while, so we'll have a little higher cost. But as you can see, our profit in the third quarter and now profit projections in the fourth quarter, even in an environment where we're not flying as much as we want to.
So that really, hi Derek, good morning. So that really pairs with what Guy was saying, that you're going to sell more seats to make up for the costs that are continuing to rise. And I'm wondering how much longer you can do the former. You guys mentioned the sort of like work travel / vacation business, that this is really helping you guys. How long do you think that trend continues for?
Yeah, I mean, demand hasn't been any stronger in our industry for a long period of time. You got to remember what we've been through over the last few years. You know, we've been through our own type of recession where, you know, we haven't been able to grow over the last few years. So, you know, the economy has grown 5% a year since 2019. Airlines have been unable to grow at that level. Airfares have only grown at about 2 to 3%, so there's a lot of room there. We're only back to 90% of 2019 levels of capacity, and we just guided 2023 capacity to be 95 to 100%. So the industry isn't even back up to capacity levels of where 2019 is, with a demand environment that just is as strong as it's been, and we don't see any signs of that abating as we look into the holidays and into the fourth quarter.
Derek, where do you think the biggest growth is going to come from going forward from here, domestic or international?
I think it'll be international. I mean, right now, from a domestic perspective, you know, the recovery has been for us on the domestic side and in the short haul international, which is the Caribbean and Mexico for us. So you'll see the environment get a little bit better as we can grow on the international side. And from a regional perspective for us, there's still some more growth available on the domestic side, but most of the growth will be on the international side.
So domestic really benefited you guys. Internationally, though, you have Delta and United really take on a lot of growth there. Can you compete with that as international continues to grow, or are you going to be at a disadvantage because your domestic area is so much stronger?
Oh no, our domestic really feeds the international. So the stronger we have as a domestic network, the stronger our international can be. As you recall, we were having delivery issues with the 787 aircraft. Those are now coming in. We have those aircraft and able to fly those internationally. So you'll see as we go into 2023 that our international footprint will be larger than what we had in the past. We will get out of some of the international flying that wasn't profitable for us for a long period of time, but we'll shift that into profitable international flying going forward.
Derek, are those 87s being fueled by the strong dollar? There are a lot of Americans over here in Europe right now, and I'm wondering, is it basically that international pickup basically down to the fact that the buck goes a long way right now?
Well, I think it's a couple things. One is just growing it back, you know, to where we were. We're not even near where 2019 level is, and people really do want to travel, and they want to travel internationally. So you've seen that pick up from some other carriers, and you're going to see that with us as we move forward into 2023.
I'm getting on my first international plane tomorrow morning. I haven't been on that in like 4 years, so this feels huge. Derek, in terms of the cost structure, though, when do you think we're going to see the top in the non-fuel cost part of the business?
Yeah, I think what it really is a utilization issue with the airline industry. It's not a cost structure. We're built to fly more than we can fly today due to the constraints in aircraft and due to the constraints in the pilots that we have. So as we grow the airline back over time, we're going to grow it back much more efficiently than we are today. And that's where you'll see the cost structure and the cost CASM pressure come down over time.
In terms of what kind of environment you're building the airline for now, Derek, how different is it to the pre-pandemic environment? Is it a different market now, and if so, how?
It's a little different. I think the way people are traveling today is different than they've traveled in the past. You know, you referenced it earlier about the blended trips. I mean, we're seeing that. You know, business is back 100%, but business is back because small businesses are flying a lot more than they have in the past. So that is back, and it's back full. The leisure is back full. Corporate is only back about 80%, but they are driven by this blended trip. So we saw RASM up, our revenue metric up 25% year over year, even in this environment. So I think the blended is offsetting some of the corporate coming back. I think the corporate is going to come back, and I think international growth coming back will be a huge benefit as we move into 2023.
Derek, final question. I thought I'd already asked the final question, but they're giving me another one. As you look forward and you think about the unit economics of running SAF, what are you looking at? How much does that price need to come down, do you think, to run the airline economically without significantly raising fares?
I think it needs to come down a lot. I mean, the issue today is supply. There's just not the supply out there to be able to do it. And there's a lot of work being done with the government and with companies that are trying to help produce SAF and produce a lot of it. The problem is there's just not enough today. So the cost has to come down a fair amount. And we're involved, and we're working very hard with companies like Breakthrough Energy and others to work to get SAF costs down so that it's economical for us to fly and for us to get to our zero emissions by 2050.